Good evening and welcome to Garblag Games. I am Aaron and I'm going to be your narrator for this evening. We've had a bit of a break. We had the big holiday break, and then we had the plague of the cold and flu season. So it's been a few minutes since you saw us here on uh, Garblag Wednesdays, but we're back with some Marvel Multiverse. And we are playing the friendly neighborhood adventure of the Cataclysm of Kang. That's the rank 2 adventure. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go around the table. I'm going to let the players remind you of who they're playing, a little bit about them, their powers. Then I'll do a recap, and then we're going to dive right back into the action. So let's start with Dan M.
Desperately trying to remember my character background then. Good evening, everybody. I am Dan, and tonight I will be playing Professor Kronos, powers in time manipulation and time travel, also teleportation as such through the weaves of time. Hailing now from another world, in a past tense from World War II. Not so lost and confused now, and ready to fight crime.
I love it. All right, other Dan.
Hi all. Like Dan, I was desperately trying to remember who I'm playing and what I'm playing. I am Lance Claymore, the legendary Lance from the Tales of Arthur, now known as the Eldritch Knights in his time era. He's very old, and his powers, well, they're not really his powers, but he has survivability, magical armor, and is fairly dap-handed with a sword.
Thank you, Dan. And moving on to Jim.
Hello, I'm Jim, and I am playing a character called Kingdom Quake. A very high intellect and mind, but no, not really. A big block sort of thing, sort of Hulk style alien creature that came from outer space, crash landing in good old Blighty. And yeah, not much is known about him, but he's joined in with the others. I forgot the Pendragon.
Operation Pendragon. That's correct.
Yeah, the Operation Pendragon, and yeah, I've just got directions from a passerby, and we're heading towards heading off the trouble.
Wonderful, Roger. Now, who are you playing?
Hi, I'm Roger. I'm playing Sherwood, who is the modern Robin Hood, but actually is the Robin Hood. He comes back to life, so it were, when the UK needs him the most. So he reappeared at the start of World War One, fought throughout World War One, disappeared immediately afterwards, didn't get time to celebrate or anything, and then reappears in 1940 during the Battle of Britain going, what the hell's going on now? Ah, crap. And suddenly is now in America for some reason in the modern day and has no idea what the hell's going on, but he hasn't disappeared, so he's only assumed that he's still needed for something.
Excellent. And rounding us out, Stu, tell us about your character.
Hi, I'm Stu, and I'm playing Lodestar. Lodestar's another alien, but from a different planet. She's Krylorian. It's again also now travelled across space and time to be on the present day Earth. She is a psychic, mainly telekinetic, and she's also sort of ex-military, ex-space navy, crashed into the Earth and became one of us. She's also very pink. So it's fairly obvious that she's an alien.
Wonderful. So that's Operation Pendragon. 2 aliens, an immortal knight, an embodiment of the protector of the UK, and a Time Lord. So we're gonna have some fun tonight, but first let's remind everybody how we got here. So as some of the characters have already alluded to, we started on another Earth and in another time. In fact, we started on Earth 56438 during World War II, where Operation Pendragon was deployed to track down someone who claimed to be able to travel through time and provide the Axis powers with the ability to win the war. His name was Trevor Fitzroy. They traveled, ran him down, defeated the supervillains of the Axis who were trying to spirit him away, and followed him through a portal to try to stop him from returning to whatever time he was going to. They were stopped mid-temporal transit by Iron Kid and the all-new Wasp, who told them that they were integral to saving the multiverse, perhaps, that at least one or more of them might have a hand in thwarting an upcoming evil that was going to strike. And that they themselves, because they had no variance across the multiverse, were uniquely positioned to make this happen. So everyone agreed to this act and they sent them on their way. But when they transitioned, they did not simply transition through time, but also through space. They ended up popping out of a portal in the modern times on Earth 616 and were able to thwart Madame Mask and her cohorts' attempts to keep a stable multi-dimensional portal open between Earth 56438 and Earth 616. Then they met Nick Fury, who had also been visited by the Iron Kid and all-new Wasp and briefed on what was happening and who Operation Pendragon was. And he helped set them up at 4 Yancey Street, the brownstone owned by the Fantastic Four, or Ben Grimm more specifically. They met with Jennifer, the She-Hulk, as their lawyer, and they were set up with their own expense accounts and incorporation papers, and then they were ready to take to the streets and protect their new home of Earth 616 against whatever this multi-dimensional terror was planning to be. A few days passed before they were called to action. It appears that members of the wrecking crew were attacking the fire stations in Hell's Kitchen. They immediately raced to the area and were able to thwart their efforts. However, 2 of the fire stations were seriously damaged or destroyed. Then immediately upon that adventure concluding, they were notified that another member of the wrecking crew was trying to block the Lincoln Tunnel, and that there was another attack on the hospital and the generators of the hospital. So they sped off to deal with that. Were able to once again shut that down. Tired, as the day wore on, in late afternoon, they reconvened back at their headquarters with Nick Fury and discussed the fact that this was not the MO of the wrecking crew, not from Earth 616, at least. You know, they're strong-arm robbers, not terrorists. They took a moment to catch their breath, trying to figure out what was going on, when they were notified that the Midtown North Police Precinct was under attack. Of course, they immediately were spurred to action, and Kingdom Quake ran up to a pedestrian on the street, asking for directions on how to get to the Midtown North Police Precinct. The young man that he picked up was like, "Oh yeah, I can give you directions." So Kingdom Quake literally picked him up, put him under his arm, and started running off with him in the direction of the Midtown North Police Precinct, as the rest of the members of Operation Pendragon followed in Quake's wake. And that is where we're going to pick up. In that very moment, our comic panel, you see Kingdom Quake running with this thin, excited young man under his arm, wearing jeans. He's got a shoulder bag across his shoulder, and he's got his phone on a long pole, and he's holding it out. And we get in deeper, and we see the dialogue bubbles as they pop up. "Hey, everybody, it's me, Tim Cratchit, and I am live on my own podcast, Superhero Watch. That's right, and I am live here with an honest-to-God superhero. I am not just reporting from the street. Look here. What's your name, sir?
I shall. It's Kingdom Quake, and I shall put all my focus on talking to him on his phone, even though I am running as fast as I can down the street.
Well, fantastic, Kingdom Quake. Do you represent any known superhero group, or are you an up-and-comer?
Yeah, Operation Pendragon.
You heard it here first. We are getting a one-on-one interview with Kingdom Quake from Operation Pendragon. Note to self: find out who Operation Pendragon is and see if they're trending. All right, stick with us. We're headed to the Midtown North Police Precinct. Oh, watch out for that car! And now we shift over into the next panel, and we see the other members of Operation Pendragon following in the wake of Kingdom Quake. So how are you all heading out towards the police precinct? How are you going to get there?
Is traffic moving or?
Traffic is moving. I mean, it's a late afternoon in Hell's Kitchen, so traffic is moving, but it's not moving fast.
Okay, I mean, if there's cars moving faster than I can run, then I'm going to jump on the roofs and hitch a lift. Otherwise, I'm going to be leaping off and running and parkouring my way across the city.
I think you could probably do a little mix of that, car surfing and running. But so let's go ahead and give me a check. Let's do our first roll.
I swear I get run over by a car trying to look cool.
I was going to say,
Yes,
and Sherwood
exactly.
fails and gets run over by a car.
Exactly. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to enjoy it. What do you say? Let's just do
Agility, I guess.
Let's do an agility. No, let's do a vigilance check.
Oh.
I know you're agile enough to do it.
Oh, hang on.
That's
sorry,
not the question.
I'd already hit roll. Hang on.
Okay.
He's
But
making
let's do
sure
a
you can spot all the cars.
So with your agility check, you're definitely your parkouring is going fantastic, and you're making great progress. But let's get a vigilance check to see. 15. Okay, 15 is pretty good. So with the 15, you're able to see where the traffic is slowing down. You're able to see which cars to jump on. So you're making good progress, and you're keeping up with Kingdom Quake, who is just charging through things. And you hear the wails of this young man. Not really the wails so much as the excited conversation he's having with his followers. So we see Sherwood diving and jumping and car surfing. How is Professor Kronos getting there?
I think Professor Kronos is going to be traveling at a leisurely pace, with his walking stick. As I will time travel, so I make sure I arrive there on time with everyone else.
All right. Talk to us about time travel. Remind everybody how that works for you. Which power are you using?
So let me refer to my character sheet here. I'm using time travel, the power. I could teleport my way over there. Actually, or blink. I'll teleport. Oh no, I've not been there. But do I have to be there before to have?
Yeah, you either have to have seen it or be able to see it. So time travel, that'll work for you.
Yeah. So I have the time travel power. When Professor Kronos time travels, it's very much a sort of 1970s kind of bad visual effect of wavy, multicolored lines. As the chronotom particles in his body kind of discombobulate and then recombobulate along the matter stream of the time flow matrix.
I just have this image. He's like, I'll see you there, chaps. Starts walking and then goes, woo, 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 and then like we're going to get there knackered. He's like, oh, that was a fine walk. And he's like teleporting
pretty much that.
To 2 hours
pretty much
before,
that on the money.
To make sure
That's exactly what happened.
There.
So he walks off and shifts out, and what happens is Professor Kronos drops about an hour and a half into the past so he can have a nice leisurely walk, perhaps have a cup of tea, get something to eat on the way, and arrive there at the same moment that you all arrive.
Power.
What's the point of having power if you can't use it, right? So So as Sherwood's parkouring off and Kingdom Quake is running off, we see Professor Kronos waver and slip back into time as he walks off, leaving us with Lodestar and the Eldritch Knight. How are the two of you gonna make your way to Midtown?
So I imagine like he's Lancelot, he's in his armor. He probably turns to Lodestar and goes, "You're gonna fly, aren't you?"
Yes.
Excellent. Oh, you hear him take like a big, deep breath. He's like, "Whew, here we go." Lancelot, well, a knight of fame, and he is a very good combatant. He is not the most agile of people in terms of speed. He's more endurance. So he just gets to do it the old-fashioned way, and he's now running through the streets using the paths. And it's probably weird for New Yorkers, or maybe not weird for New Yorkers, that there's this man in full knightly get-up running through the streets. But he's relying purely on endurance to get him there.
That's right.
And
If
you're
anyone
following
asks,
like
just say
in the wake.
Comic-Con.
Yeah, you're following in the wake of Kingdom Quake. So people have already gotten out of his way and they just look, and most of the people don't seem all that disturbed by it or nonplussed. They're just taking pictures as you go by. And as you
every now and again, Lance stops us and go.
So as you guys are approaching, you're coming across, you're coming east on West 54th Street. You're almost, and you could already hear, you're less than a block away from the police precinct, and you can already start to see cars that have been flipped over or tossed, and you hear the sound of small arms fire and sounds like destruction, almost like a construction site where a building is being torn down. And as you guys get closer, Kingdom Quake, you're right in front as you approach. Lodestar, you're flying in, so you're kind of getting in a bird's eye view, looking down on the police precinct, and you can see gaping holes in the building. Professor Kronos pops right into time, walks right out of a building and onto it, like as if he was completely rested. And Sherwood, you jump off a car pretty much right next to Professor Kronos as he just sort of walks around the corner and into the scene. The Eldritch Knight comes up a few seconds later. He's a little winded. He's a little out of breath, but you definitely see as you're approaching Lodestar, you see where the west side of the police precinct, the whole wall has been torn out. And the rest of you, if you're coming up, you see that the south side of the building has been equally damaged. And right at that moment, you see a bunch of, well, not a bunch, probably a half a dozen people in orange prisoners' clothes just running out. They look as scared. This doesn't look like a prison break for them. This looks like they're running for their lives. What would you like to do? You do see a couple of police officers that have fallen back. A few of them are injured. Some of them are being pulled back. There's some medevac being done on them.
Can I?
Do see
Sorry, go on. Can I see any people in the building that are stuck from my position in the air?
From your vantage point, give me a vigilance check. Difficulty 14 on this one. Do you want to spend a karma?
Yeah, I'm going to spend a point of karma, I think, just to re-roll that that one, I think. Yeah, there we go.
Okay, 14. So you do see a couple of police officers that are down. It doesn't look like they're in mild injuries, broken bones and what, but they're both breathing and they're crawling towards the exit on the west side of the building. One of them is being pulled by the other, and he's firing over his shoulder deeper into the building.
Okay, can I basically, I don't know, maybe direct Kingdom Quake in to sort of stand over them so that they can't be shot at or fired upon, or maybe sort of direct Kingdom Quake to become a shield for them.
How are you going to direct him?
With my telepathic link.
Okay. So you mind link with Kingdom Quake. What do you say to him?
Kingdom Quake, I can see there's two officers on the top floor that are being attacked one of them's down and they need help, can you get to the floor first, and can you maybe operate as a shield for them? I think they're being fired upon.
Yeah, I'll just drop the amateur journalist off first.
And you see Tim Cratchit going, "We're live at Midtown North Police Precinct. It looks like it's under assault, and Kingdom Quake has been joined by a group of other heroes. I don't know them, but we will get an interview with these. Look, everybody, first on the scene, like and subscribe and comment. You know it helps me on the algorithm. Stay tuned. I'm gonna live cast this entire fight. And then he gets dropped on the ground. As Kingdom Quake.
I was going to do a TikTok dance for him. No, not what I wasn't.
Okay. As Kingdom Quake runs off towards the west side of the building. So, you guys all see this? Professor Kronos, Sherwood, Eldritch Knight. What are you doing? As Kingdom Quake makes his way to the west side of the building, Lodestar is flying above the west side of the building. You also see that giant gaping hole in the south side of the building.
Is there like any cabling or rope or something around?
I mean, there would be electrical conduit around.
I mean, as in like loose.
Are you trying to get up the wall?
Oh, well, no, I was going to basically try and fire a line up so our Eldritch Knight chum can get up there and get his shield in between bad things and people.
It's not a second story. I mean, you guys are on the ground floor, and the whole.
Oh, so it's all on the ground floor.
Yeah. I mean, it's a 2-story police station, but looks like somebody just broke the first floor wall in. So.
Right. Okay. Sorry.
No worries.
Remember, Americans refer to the first floor as we would call the ground floor.
Yeah, that was my confusion.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No,
Yes.
it's all right. It's just divided by language there, Aaron.
Damn, the English language has failed me again.
I'm gonna basically try and stealth forwards and see if I can find where they are, so I can at least give good direction to the rest of the team.
Okay, give me an agility check.
But this count as combat or non-combat?
You're not in combat yet, but you may be soon. Well, that's pretty good.
20 with a marvel.
With a marvel, so you with a fantastic. So you guys just 1 second you see Sherwood there, and the next second he moves into a shadow as he's going into the building, and then completely disappears, as if he was not there at all. First thing you see when you get in there is you see this man with this giant silver helmet on, picking up desks and throwing them around, and laughing.
Yeah, if I can, I'll basically be directing the rest of the team so they can know what I'm seeing.
And how are you directing the rest of the team?
Do we have like comm devices? I've completely forgotten. It's been a while.
You got cell phones and earbuds, so you could communicate with your earbuds.
Okay, yeah, I'll use the earbud and very, very quietly relay to the rest of them.
Okay. And this guy's just muttering, You can't stop us. We're taking this whole town. We're gonna own this town. Kingdom Quake, you get around to the west side of the building. Hold on, let me get a little. Did you guys see the Roll20 page?
Yep.
Okay. Kingdom Quake.
Where were we supposed to be on that map?
This is just kind of a battle map, so it's not there's no like real building per se. It's just to kind of give you some distance ideas. Kingdom Quake, as you come through the hole on the west side of the wall, you see another guy in there. He's got a kind of a purple ski mask on and a dark green like worker's jumpsuit, and he's got a crowbar in his hand. And he's the one who just tore the door off of the jail cells, the holding cells, and let all of these guys out. And it looks like he's heading deeper into the building. Are you trying to be quiet, or are you just going for it?
Yeah, we'll chase. We'll run him down and try and open the next door with his face.
Okay. So I think at this point we're gonna go into some combat, or we're gonna go into some initiative. Let me get this going. Let me clear this out before we start rolling initiative here.
Or need to find my token. Where is it? There it is.
Everybody can go ahead and roll initiative. As we face off against the Wrecker and Bulldog.
You can never get worse on an when you use a edge, can you?
Nope.
All right.
No,
that's
no,
fine.
you can't ever get worse. It'll give you the best result of
Yeah,
what you
it'll stick
rolled.
to the best result on Roll20.
Yeah. So if
Hey, Marvel.
Join me.
let me see if everybody's here. All right, let's get it into turn order.
Sherwood and Eldritch Knight both getting marvels there.
Excellent. So let me just double check and see. All right, so Sherwood and the Eldritch Knight, because you got a marvel, that means you act basically you're acting in a bonus round. You're able to take an additional turn before actual combat starts. So you hear Sherwood, you're right there and you're looking at the bulldozer, and you hear a wrecking crew charge through the west side of the building, and you hear this the wrecker turn and go, "We got company!" But you and the Eldritch Knight are able to act so quickly that you get a turn on your own. So we will start. Either one of you can go first. Now, Sherwood, you're looking right at the bulldozer. He's in the police station. Eldritch Knight, you're still outside of the police station, on the south side. But you can take your full action. So you remember you get a move action and your standard action, and then at least one reaction. So we'll go with Eldritch Knight. What would you like to do?
I mean, he's still a bit puffy and panting. He hasn't actually moved towards the police station yet, even though everybody's like starting doing things. He's like, when he goes, "No, Morgan, I'm not getting old. I mean, I am getting old. I'm several thousand years old at this point, but no, I've still got it." And he kind of, and then he starts running towards the police station because it's probably going to take him a full move action to get anywhere near the building. And that's going to be his action, just getting closer to where Sherwood's standing. Because I'm guessing Sherwood's standing there going, "Guys, we've got this giant bulldozer guy here," and so.
So Sherwood's about a move action away from the bulldozer, but if you take your entire action to get in there, you can get into melee range with the bulldozer if you want to.
Sure. That would never ended badly for me ever.
Never. Never. You're a tough guy. All right. So the Eldritch Knight, you see him charge in, and as you run in there, you see this guy with this giant silver helmet on him. He's huge. He looks like almost as big as Kingdom Quake, and he obviously incredibly strong because he's just throwing, 100, 200-pound desks around like you'd throw around pencils. But you
Eldritch
get
Knight
in
kind
there.
of looks at him and goes, "I don't suppose you want to give up."
Oh, so he goes, "Oh no, we're gonna have some fun before we take this town. I was hoping somebody like you'd show up."
So be it.
And Sherwood, you're up in this bonus round.
Okay. I want to shoot him in the head to try and ring his helmet like a bell to kind of disorientate him to make the Eldritch Knight's life a lot easier.
Okay, so what you're trying to do like a stunning action or something like that?
Yeah, something to basically just completely disorientate him. Because I mean, well, anyone that's worn a metal helmet that's been hit with something will know that if it hits loud, it's gonna be very irritating.
Okay, so what I'll say is, do you have a power that allows you to stun him?
No.
So what you can do is it's cool, and as everybody knows, we go with the rule of fun here. So everybody who later wants to make a comment about how this isn't in accordance with the rules, I know that, but we're going to do it anyway because I love creativity with my players. So you can take your action to attack him, and if you hit him, instead of doing damage, you will inflict the stunned condition on him, which will prevent him from taking his action in the next turn.
Cool. All right, I'll give that a go then.
And this guy, so his agility defense is 14. So not a tough shot for you, really. Okay, so you hit with a 16. So you guys
could try and get a marvel in case I can do something cool with that because I've got 2 edges.
Absolutely, do it. If you get a marvel, I'll let you do your normal damage and stun him.
It's turned blue. I don't know. That means
that's the best. That's
Hey!
all right. Okay. So describe what it looks like as this arrow stuns him and does 29 points of damage.
So as he's turning to look at the Eldritch Knight, seeing the Eldritch Knight just come running at him, I basically hit it in the earpiece to maximize the effect.
Nice.
At which point, just throughout the entire lower floor of the police station, you just hear like a bong, like, you know, huge bells just been rung.
I like it. And you see him stagger and put his hand to his head. And he's trying to shake it off as he stands there completely befuddled at the moment. That would take us to the top of the round, which would have been Bulldozer, but he is stunned and can take no actions this turn. In addition, everyone who goes after him has an edge on whatever attack they want to make while he is stunned. So we're back to the Eldritch Knight.
I guess seeing him like sort of disorientated and thinking, "Thanks, Sherwood." He's going to strike at him with his classic blade and styly. So I've got edges. So what's his melee defense?
His melee defense is 14.
Cool. So I might as well try and edge these from marble. Why not? Oh, I've edged the wrong one. Never mind. Cool. Well, I definitely hit. I got some extra damage. So 23 damage, unless he's got any damage reduction.
He does have damage reduction. His damage reduction. Well, what is your damage multiplier?
×4.
Okay, so he's 33, so you reduce it to ×1.
Oh, okay, so he suffered 8 damage. Would that have affected Roger's shot as well?
Yeah.
I'm gonna recalculate that. What's your damage multiplier, Roger?
Also 4.
Yeah,
Okay,
so it would have been 7.
Yep.
I think. Oh no,
Okay.
sorry. No, mine would have been 11. Sorry, it's 6 plus 5.
Yep. No, I got it. Yeah. Okay. So he's damaged. He's been hurt. He's staggering around a bit, but you found that your blade didn't hit him as hard as you thought it would. His skin is like iron. It literally felt like you were slamming your sword into a pile of steel.
Excellent.
Do you have a reaction you want to take, or do you want to hold on to your reaction?
Yeah, I don't have any reactions as of yet, so I shall hold it. Thank you.
Bringing us back around to Sherwood.
All right, I'm going to basically do the same thing again. I'm going to basically try and distract him to allow the Eldritch Knight to do his thing.
Okay. So we'll do the same thing. If you hit his agility defense, you will stun him. If you get a marvel die, we will let you do damage. And you did.
Did you say we got an edge for shooting at him?
You
Or
do.
for attacking him?
It doesn't
Right,
matter.
so
You've already hit with a marvel.
I know, but I've got 3 edges. I might as well go for the...
Well, it won't change the damage any.
Didn't do anything. I was trying to get the 6 marvel 6 result.
Oh yeah, that would have been complete. Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah,
The ultimate fantastic success would be fun.
That's what I was going for, but no, I didn't get it.
Okay, so you stun him again. So you're ringing his bell, and he's like almost falling over. These arrows just keep hanging into this helmet, and you keep chipping away at him as he's beside himself with what's going on. He doesn't even understand really where you're coming. He hasn't even really seen you yet because you were so well hidden. Do you
Teamwork
have
makes the dream work.
do you have a reaction you want to take, or?
No, I'm quite happy just staying out of sight and distracting him.
I like it. So that brings us around to the west side of the building where we find Lodestar flying over the hole above the west side of the police station. What would you like to do?
So
You at the moment can't see either one of the combatants.
No,
You
I thought
hear
that might
you
be the
hear the
case.
sounds of battle going on inside, but you can't see either one of them.
I think what I'll do is I'll go in where Kingdom Quake has got in. So I'll go in and back up Kingdom Quake, I think. So I'll move myself around to the south side of the building.
Kingdom Quake's on the west side of the building.
Oh, sorry, west.
It's
Yeah,
okay.
the west side. Sorry.
So we see Lodestar flying down low and through the hole into the west side of the building. When you get in there, you see Kingdom Quake charging up on this guy with this purple mask on and this green suit holding a crowbar, turning to face Kingdom Quake. What would you like to do?
Have I got time to hit him with a telepathic punch?
You definitely do.
Excellent. In that case, that's
And
what I shall do.
So you're going to do a telepathic punch. That's what's
telekinetic attack? It's
telekinetic
called,
attack. Yeah. And what's the defense? Is that against? Is it against his
It's
logic defense?
It's against his melee.
Okay, so his melee defense is 16, and he has damage reduction. He has 32, so your multiplier is reduced by 2 for your damage. What's your multiplier on your telekinetic attack?
It's ×3, so it'll be 1.
And we get another fantastic success. Well,
whoa!
So that's awesome. Okay, so ×1, that's 6 times 1. What's your addition to that?
+5, so it's 11.
Plus 11 doubled. Is there any other thing you get for a fantastic success on a telekinetic attack?
I don't think there's anything.
Sometimes it
knocks something. Stunned. The stunned for a round.
All right. So you guys are racking up the stuns. So what's it look like when you come in and hit him that hard?
So this sort of ghostly fist appears in the air and just comes down on the back of his head like that, basically. And he just sort of staggers him as he faces off.
You hit him in the back of the head, and his head slams against a column, and he's rocking back now, seeing stars and little Tweety birds rolling around his head, which brings us to the wrecker. But now that he's stunned, he doesn't get to take an action. So that brings us to Kingdom Quake, who is right in front of this poor stunned bastard. And you got an edge on attacking him if you want to, unless you just want to have a conversation.
No, I'm gonna pick him up and basically put his head through the floor.
Okay, so what kind of action are you using?
Okay, so I am going to do signature attack smash.
All right. So with a signature attack, you get another edge. So you have 2 edges on this. And talk to us about smash.
Okay, so by favouring a particular kind of weapon or attack power, they have. So, well, it'd be. I have got smash as well. Well, so yeah, sorry, it is smash. Sorry. So this trait can be taken more than once, but each time must be with a different kind of weapon or attack power. So this is my one signature attack style with smash.
So with smash attack and it being your signature weapon and the guy is stunned, you actually have 3 edges.
Okay.
So 3 dice you can re-roll. And the way this works is for every 2 points of focus you spend, if you hit him, you do an additional point of damage. However, you have to decide how much focus you're going to spend on the attack now.
So say that again. Sorry, Aaron.
So with a smash attack, you've got the special ability. 1, you get another edge. So you've got 3 edges on the attack. But the other part of a smash attack is you can spend focus on a 2-for-1 basis to increase the damage if you hit him.
Okay.
So, like, let's say if you wanted to spend 20 focus and you hit him, you would do 10 extra points of damage. If you want to spend
Okay.
80 focus, you do 40 extra points of
We're
damage.
going to spend 20 focus.
20 focus. Okay. So you would do.
With the smash I'm doing is I'm picking him up, turn around, and I'm going to tombstone him through the floor.
I love it. So
Kingdom
roll to
Quake
hit.
Meteor.
And what is your damage multiplier for your melee attack?
My damage multiplier is DM times 4 plus 4.
Okay, so it's reduced to ×1, but we'll figure that out after you hit because
Okay.
×2 because he's got sturdy 2. So go ahead and roll to hit. His melee defense is 16.
Okay, so that I'll press the button under attack, don't I?
Yeah. You got a marvel as well, so that's awesome. Now you do have 3 edges, so you can re-roll the 1 and the 4 to try to get a better success.
It's doing that thing again, I think, where it just re-rolls the same thing.
Well, no, it'll pop up the best. So you got a 1 on that again, but you got 2 more times. You can re-roll twice.
Yeah, we'll do it again. Yeah, remember last time it kept re-rolling the same number, didn't it?
Let me see.
I think it's doing it again. Didn't we just do roll 1d6?
No. What it does, Jim, is it keeps the best result. So if your re-roll was lower, it will keep your best result. It always keeps your best result.
There, I did it for you. So that's the best you got. There is a 5 and a 4 in the marvel. So that doesn't change anything. But
Does the marvel affect the smash power? I was just wondering because some of mine means it does full damage if he does a marvel.
No,
when you use your edge, then does it just roll 1 dice or all of the dice?
Just one. The one you select. When you roll, when you pull down on the number, if you roll edge or trouble, if you roll edge, it'll just re-roll that. It just rolls that one. So for smash, what happens on a fantastic success is. And I know I should have memorized all of these powers by now.
Don't be silly.
You know what? I just haven't. Oh, I was being very silly because there's so many. On a fantastic success, the affected target takes double the total damage and is stunned. So you're going to stun him again, regardless. But let's figure out the damage first. So 6 times 2 is 12. What's your addition there? The plus on your melee damage?
Plus 4.
Plus 4. So that's 12 plus 4 is 16. You spent 20 focus, so that's an additional 10. That's 26 times 2 is 52 points of damage to this guy, and he is stunned again. He's looking pretty brutal. So when you tombstone him, he kind of crumbles. I mean, he's a hard guy. He's very strong. So you haven't taken him out by any stretch of the imagination, but he is absolutely staggered by this assault.
Just by the fact that he took that, I shall have a bit of a release from my bottom area, really, because that's took some pure damage. So I'm clearly scared of him now.
He's like,
I'm not going to show it.
Oh, you're hitting hard. We're going to have some fun in a minute when I shake this off. I don't think he's going to get a chance to shake it off. He's stunned again. These guys are getting manhandled. Bring us around to our favorite time traveler, Professor. Professor Kronos.
Well, these gentlemen look like they have this really, really well in hand, frankly. So I'm a bit loath to kind of step in on their bloodbath. So perhaps I might do something a little bit different. I want to find a little bit about how this has happened and what exactly, like, where this guy came from. So I'm going to find the highest ranking police officer I can find, and ask him what happened, and then get him to take me to like the CCTV security footage room.
Okay. Well, you find there's a sergeant, a uniformed sergeant on site. And as you go up to him, he's like, "Oh, thank God you showed up. Get this blogger kid, get out of here. They came out of nowhere and hit us. They didn't even say anything. And it's not like they're trying to break. I mean, all the prisoners we had in here they're nothing. Petty crim. They hit us about, I don't know, 20 minutes ago. They haven't said a thing. I'd take you in, but I mean, they destroyed the comms room completely. I don't think there's a CCTV room left.
There's a lot. People keep on saying we. How many were there?
Well, it was the two of them. They just came in from different directions and they just bulldozed. They destroyed all the police cars in the parking lot and then hit the building on either side.
What did the two suspects look like?
Well, I mean, they're in there. That's the guy with a silver bucket head helmet, and another guy with a like a dark purple mask and a green jumpsuit. I mean, I've seen the news before. I think they were members of the wrecking crew, but there's nothing to steal in this. We don't even have an evidence lockup in here. There's nothing to steal here.
But they let the prisoners go.
Well, yeah, I mean, they trashed. Well, yeah, they just ran off. But I mean, they're all petty criminals. I don't. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't even match their MO.
Some sort of distraction, maybe.
Give me either a vigilance or a logic test.
It's probably going to be a logic test. Are we in non-combat?
Yeah, non-combat.
You
are.
Yeah. Any traits that can go along with this?
What traits do you have?
Surprising power, quick learner, weird inventor, gearhead, scientific expertise.
I'm gonna reduce the difficulty a little bit from the gestalt of all of your talents. I didn't need to because you got a 20.
That's all right.
What you're seeing and what you're hearing and what you figured out from the earlier attacks and your discussions with Nick Fury, it's pretty obvious to you that these acts of random violence against the infrastructure and the emergency services are not acts of random violence. They are trying to destabilize this area of New York City. Now, for what purpose, you don't really know, but it's clear that they are being probably directed by our higher authority to hit surgical strikes against certain areas within Hell's Kitchen.
I will first of all message Nick Fury with that thought. I will then get on my comms, com up and speak like on open comms to the rest of the party and say, gentlemen, if possible, please take one that we can interrogate and talk to, please. I would very much like to speak to someone who is conscious. Thank you very much.
And you guys all hear that through your ear beads as we go to the top of round 2, and we find the bulldozer still reeling and stunned from the successive blows to his helmet from Sherwood. He's staggering about, almost like he's completely knockout drunk, flailing his arms around at shadows and unable to take any coherent actions, which brings us to the Eldritch Knight, who's dancing around these flailing arms. What would you like to do?
Well, he's keeping quite low because this guy's massive compared to the Eldritch Knight. I'm guessing he's pretty tall by the sounds of things.
He's a big guy. He's a big guy.
Yeah, and the Eldritch Knight, he's the height you would have been at medieval England times in 836.
So like
AD.
5'5".
Yeah, he's like 5'5", 5'6". Maybe he was a bit taller for each time, maybe 5'8", but he ain't a big man. So he's keeping low, keeping underneath the cuts and stuff. And obviously he gets this message and he's like, Professor, I will do my best, but I'm currently dodging a very large man with a very large hat. And he's going to swing at him. I'm going to use combat trickery with 5 focus to give myself an instant Marvel dice.
Nice.
And then let's roll my attack. Let's get some double damage going on in there. I will re-roll the 1. I'm going to try and get... Oh, is he still stunned as well?
Oh, yeah. You still got another edge. You got another edge.
Oh!
He does it. Ultimate fantastic success.
So as he's
Um,
dancing around, he kind of sees, like, as he comes around towards his sort of hip side, he sees a slight, what he thinks is a shimmering in his skin, that it was so irony that maybe there's a slight bit that he can get the blade into rather than hacking at it, but rather using it at thrust. And he thrusts into it to see what damage he can do.
I like it. So, for everybody at home, I do have a house rule for this. I think the ultimate fantastic success earns triple damage. That's just how I call it. Now he does have damage, sturdy 3.
Does.
So
my damage is 9 times 3, so 27.
27.
Yes.
So the blade, it does go in. You like hit him in the hip, and you scrape across his hip bone, and it kind of drops him a little bit. Now, was there a particular power you were using for that, or just like a vicious attack?
No, I was just using a standard attack, but it was because I used combat trickery to give myself
Yeah.
the instant marvel dice.
No, it's just
So-
sometimes with some of the melee powers, when you get
He
a
does
fantastic
get
success,
he does get the bleeding condition. That's just part of my standard thing for being a combat
Got it.
person.
And
So
talk
because
to
I
us
use a
about
blade.
bleeding condition.
It means he takes a point of damage every turn while he has the bleeding
Excellent.
condition.
So yeah, so you grind your blade against his hip bone, and it comes out, and just blood starts gushing down his leg. He's like, "Oh, Rekka, they're everywhere. I can't find them." Taking it. Are you going to take a move action or any other reaction?
No. I'm just sticking there for now.
Bring us around to Sherwood.
Yeah, I mean, ringing the bell seems to be quite effective here. So,
Okay.
yeah, I'm going to see if I can keep him staggering around so Sherwood can do his thing.
I like it. I like it. Marvel dice again. Unbelievable. Roger might be the luckiest human being who's ever lived. You got another one? You're gonna.
Oh, so close.
So close. So close. So,
So it's another 11 damage.
11 damage.
Bong!
So, and he is stunned again. Since we ruled this, we're gonna.
He
stick
should
with
just
it because it's
consider
fun.
surrendering.
He might on his next turn if he gets an opportunity to, because he is looking very bad. I mean, he's kind of leaning over. His elbows are now on his knees. He's shaking his head. Blood's pouring down his hip, and he's looking much the worse for wear. Now we fade out of that comic panel, and we see a big splash page on the next page, and what we see is Lodestar just having telekinetically punched the back of the wrecker, and then Kingdom Quake having tombstoned him, and it's back around to Lodestar. What's it look like in the next panel? What are you doing?
Basically, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and get behind this gentleman with the purple mask on. So I'm going to see if I can sort of float above him, over the top of him, while he's looking, while his head's down in the floor, basically. And then when I've got behind him, I'm going to have a quick look to see if there's anyone stuck in any of the rooms or anything going that way, because I think my companion there has probably got his measure.
Okay. Since the wrecker is stunned, he can't take any reaction to react to your movements. You're able to easily float above him. Give me a vigilance check. Your difficulty is 14 for this because the place is completely wrecked, but we'll see if you see anybody.
And that's on the normal, not the non-combat, yeah?
Normal. Yep.
Yeah.
Normal, because you're still technically in the thick
In
of things.
combat, yeah. I'm going to spend another karma point, I think.
Okay. So
oh, I have to re-roll that one. Never mind. Okay. So I'm scouting the room.
and you are, when you do that, you are hitting edge, right? When you go to re-roll it.
Yeah, I'll try it again just in case. But yeah, I am. Yeah, on that dice as well.
It's just that he's rolled 3 ones in a row. It's just very unlucky.
Yeah, that's crazy. Okay. So you're not able to see anybody. It's just like there's dust, there's all in the air.
Yeah.
Walls are down, desks are flipped over. You don't hear anything. All you hear is the struggle going on behind you. So you're not able to see any other police officer or anybody else pinned in here. The two police officers that you did see earlier were able to drag themselves out during this conflict. So you believe they're safe.
Okay,
Brings us
that's
back
good.
around to the back around to the wrecker, who is stunned after Kingdom Quake's tombstone maneuver. So we're back to Kingdom Quake once again.
Okay. So, is there anything on the floor? In fact, no, I'll just use my fist. Yeah, I'm just while I'm sort of tombstoning down there, I'm just going to sort of kneel over him and just ground and pound his face until he stops moving.
I like it. Are you using a specific power or are you just punching him?
Could I use signature attack again, smash, or?
Yes, you can. Yep.
Okay,
Every
well-
turn you can use it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll double-handed, but because it's smash, we won't ground and pound his face. We shall double-handed fist his face.
Do the classic Captain Kirk
Yeah.
double fist strike.
And I
I
will
like
shout "Khan" as I'm doing it. No, I'm just a double.
And
double-handed
how many focus do you want to spend on this attack?
Well, I've spent 20.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to spend any focus on this.
Okay.
Really, we're just gonna go for it. So, if
Straight up. Well, you've got to spend a minimum of 5 to do the smash attack. But
okay, yeah, okay, then we'll spend we'll spend a further 10.
okay. So you spend 10 focus on this. You get an additional edge, so you have 2 edges. With your signature attack, you have 3 edges, so 3 rerolls you can do. And his melee defense is 16. And you get a 16, and you have 3 rerolls you can do. 3 edge checks you can do on those dice. Okay, you get 2 more you can try.
Yeah, 17.
That's so weird, but yeah. Okay, 17. You got 3 on the dice. His damage reduction is 2. Yours is 2. So that's 3 times 2 is 6 plus 5 is 11. All right. And you spent 10 focus. So that's 5. So 16. So yeah, you bring it down, you pound into him. And he gets smashed deeper into the ground. You're literally cratering the floor with his head. But he's still smiling as he looks up at you. Still smiling. And he's no longer stunned.
Oh, bollocks.
Bring us back around to Professor Kronos.
Right. Okay. Is there a pattern? I know we've been talking about the sort of infrastructure of the emergency services in this part of New York.
Mm-hmm.
But is there a pattern to it? Like how it's spread out? Is it around an area?
It looks like, based on what you know of Hell's Kitchen, what you were able to pull up on your map, your on your arm, it looks like they're trying to take out every emergency service hub and every area of public services. They hit the hospital. They also hit the Lincoln Tunnel. So that's an entrance, a prime entrance into the area of Hell's Kitchen. So it looks like they're trying to isolate this area from any emergency support or any support at all. Is the best you can assume from what information you have.
Okay. I don't like the idea of a bunch of crooks getting away. So I would like to do some time traveling.
Okay. What are you going to do?
I don't want to.
Now, remember, if you materially affect things dramatically, you'll just cause a timeline to splinter off. So
yeah, so I don't want to upset things too wibbly wobbly. So what I want to do is travel back in time, create a chemical tracker, create a this is probably really over complex for what I have in mind. Create some sort of fake ID or get you know our organization to make one for me. Go into the prison a day before, maybe, and put a chemical tracker on each one of those crooks, so that when I come back to the present, I can give that tracker to the sergeant and say, right, this is where they've all gone. So they still get out.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not affecting it that sort of way, but they will easily be re-detained.
Interesting.
Dr.
Okay.
Kronos, sneaky fuck.
So I love
Overly
this.
complicated, seeky fuck.
I love it. So what we'll say is you travel back in time a week or so, and you either work with Nick Fury. Well, no, because you wouldn't actually be able to interact with anybody in the past, because then you'd already know it. So it has to be something you do on your own. So I will say you're capable of it. I need a difficulty 16 logic check for you to be able to figure out how to put together a chemical tracker based on information you're able to glean without interacting with anyone else, and letting anybody else know at 4 Yancey Street that you are traveled back in time to do this.
Dr. Kronos, he finger blasts time.
I have access to our lab and stuff, don't I?
Yes, yeah, you'll have access to your
So
lab.
I'll be using that. Okay.
So that'll give you an edge.
Inventor, will that give me an edge?
Yep. So that's 2 edges on the roll.
So how do I do an edge? I roll.
So roll your logic check, a non-combat logic check, and then let's just see what you get. Okay, you got a 19, so you got enough anyway, so you don't have to
I won't worry about it.
do anything with it. So you're able to, you shift back in time by about a week. You sneak into your lab. You're able to put together these chemical trackers. That's basically an aerosol.
Yeah.
You're going to be able to spray on these guys, and it will lock them against this tracker that you have, this chemical tracker that you also developed, and you'll be able to give that to the sergeant and track them down. So you shift back in time, you do that. We're going to move on as Professor Kronos is in the past making a chemical tracker, and we're going to go back to top of the round with Bulldozer completely befuddled, shaken, virtually on his knees, unable to take an action. Bringing us up to the Eldritch Knight. He takes a point of bleed damage. You see him holding on his hip. He's now groaning heavily, looking very much worse for wear. What would you like to do?
Well, old chap, by knightly virtues, I should offer you the chance to yield. Will you take it?
Give me you can either give me a melee check or an ego check. Like if you're putting your sword to his throat, you can do a melee check. If you're trying to do it the honorable way, you can do an ego check.
I mean, it's not so much that it's dishonorable to use the sword, but any sword combatant will tell you you keep your sword there until the combat's done. So he's going to use his sword, but he's not trying to attack. So,
okay.
Would it still be or would it be a non-combat? I think it'd be a non-combat roll, wouldn't it?
Yep, it's going to be a non-combat roll against his ego defense to see if he surrenders.
I thought you were supposed to sort of put your sword on your shoulder and act a real big egotist while he plunged his broken sword into your stomach.
Yeah. I mean, Lancelot didn't live this long by being stupid.
He knows not to monologue.
Yes.
With a fantastic success, he is going to surrender. So explain to us what it looks like. This comic book panel, this giant splash page where Lancelot is forcing the Bulldozer to surrender. What do you say? What do you do?
Well, exactly as it is. Well, old chap, I think you're done. It's time for you to yield, is it not? And I'm assuming he kind of signifies that he's going to surrender. He probably doesn't actually know what yield means. So Lancelot goes, surrender. Oh boy.
He puts his hand up, he's shaking it, and then he just sort of crumples over and he kind of just puts his head against the floor. And he's not unconscious, but he is exhausted and out of the fight.
I guess at that point we'll try to cuff him. I'm not sure it'll do any good, but like we'll try to restrain him in some fashion. Tie his hands and his legs up behind him together so he can't move them independently. And I'll probably take my whole action to just do kind of that. What's going on there?
Perfect.
Not to bondage.
Jim, what's going on with you tonight?
That takes us to Sherwood.
To be honest, not trusting this guy to try and pull some kind of shenanigans while the Eldritch Knight's trying to restrain him. I will kind of emerge out of hiding and will clearly have an arrow trained on his head, so he knows to stay damn still while the Eldritch Knight does his thing.
And his head just kind of shifts. He's like, right. You're the one ringing my bell. Nice shooting.
Ding dong.
And that takes us to the west side of the building, where Lodestar was last seen looking for survivors in the police station. What would you like to do?
It seems as though the floor is empty, so I shall turn my attention back to the man in the purple mask. And you did say he was armed, didn't you? He's got a heavy crowbar in his hand. Crowbar.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to try and rip that from his hands with my.
Make him a lollipop. No.
I'm gonna try and rip it from his hands with my telekinetic manipulation.
All right, I like it. So give me a agility attack against his resilience, because you're not trying to harm him, you're trying to disarm him. So his resilience defense is 15.
Okay, and agility or logic?
Logic, that is. Sorry, logic. You're using telekinesis.
Yes. Right. So logic against 15. Did you say?
It's the 15.
No, not quite.
Okay, so you see this magic crowbar start to shake in his hand, but I mean, he's just so massively strong. And he looks up at you and he just points a finger because he's starting to move now. And he stands up, looks at you, recognizing that you're probably the one that cold cocked him earlier from behind. But you're floating in the air, right?
Yep.
Okay, so he is going. Go ahead.
Looks like I'm going to turn into a baseball, doesn't it?
Well, so what he's going to do is, let me just pull this. Okay, so he takes this crowbar and he throws it at you. And it comes swinging around to strike at you. What is your agility defense?
It's 11.
He got a 16. He's got an edge, so he's going to try to get a fantastic success on this. Did not. So he got a 16. So he hits you. Do you have any damage reduction, any levels of sturdy?
Oh, no. Okay. None of that shenanigan.
So
I'm just a lady in a jumpsuit.
This magic crowbar comes swinging around, strikes you in the air for 14 points of damage.
Nasty.
Continues on to strike at Kingdom Quake. Kingdom Quake, what is your agility defense?
My agility defense is massive. It's 16.
16.
Is that right?
Okay. Could be.
Yeah.
He gets a 17 and a fantastic success.
Oh, piss flaps.
Yes, exactly. Piss flaps. So, do you have any levels of sturdy?
3.
3. Okay. And his melee is ×5, so it's ×2. So 6 times 2, or 6 plus 6 is 12. 6 times 2 is 12, plus 6 is 18, with a fantastic success, double damage, 36 points of damage.
Ow.
Kingdom Quake, as this crowbar slams into the side of you, and then swings back into his hand.
Okay.
Let me hold on for a second. Let me see here.
So 36 points, yeah?
36 points. And you guys have been lucky. He has not gone berserk yet. I've been kind of waiting for him to go berserk, but he's passed all his rolls for that. So, that's his turn. He is not going to try to move out of the way. He's ready to just stand and bang. Kingdom Quake. He's now standing right in front of you with this crowbar that just slammed in the side of your head, and he's pointing at you. I'm back on my feet now, big guy. See what you got.
Okay. I am going to, again, use signature move smash because when it comes to computer games, I bash my button. And I'm going to smack him either side of his head.
I like it. So these giant mitts, these giant rocky mitts come across. How many points of focus are you spending?
We're going to put another 10 into it. We're going to try and
10. So you've got 2 edges now instead of 3 against this guy. And his melee defense is 16.
Well, it just would be, wouldn't it?
It would be indeed. Did you get a 19? You've got 2 edges, so.
Okay. So yeah, it's 19.
Okay. With a 19, he's sturdy 2, and you're mighty 3, right? Or are you mighty 4?
I am mighty 2.
Mighty 2. Okay. He is sturdy 2 and you're mighty 2. So that reduces the damage to 0.
Jim's multiplier shows ×4 on the thing.
Okay, then it's just down to ×2 then. Okay, so it just reduces to ×2. So it's 5 times and you're +5 or +6? +4? Okay,
+4.
so it's 9 times 2, 18 points of damage to him. As your rocky mitts crash into the side of his head. And he looks angry and deeply stunned. You split his lip. You got blood coming out of his ear from under his purple mask. You can see it's just kind of soaking through that mask. And he's looking a bit bedraggled. We're going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and roll this.
I'm going to put my face into his and just shout, "Quake, clap."
I'm going to go ahead and roll this.
You gave him with a quake clap.
Yeah.
11, and you did. So he does go berserk this time after the amount of damage he's taken. And what that means for you guys and for people watching is, if he survives another round, he gets +2 to his melee, resilience, and ego defenses, but -2 to his agility defense. At the end of a character's turn, they lose 5 focus. So basically, he's in a berserker rage and will be attempting to kill you if you don't stop him. Next round, Professor Kronos. We see him in his lab. He's put together his trackers. Now you fade out of your lab and you fade into the future, but still one day in the past for everyone else. Now give me a vigilance. Now, how are you approaching this? You're at this police station. It's completely intact. Obviously, you can't interact with these police officers or really let these convicts know what's going to happen, because that might change the timeline. So how is it that you get in there and spray this aerosol on them without being questioned?
Well, I was having to create myself either some sort of fake identification, or teleporting.
Okay, I think teleport would probably work best for you. So give me the teleportation power. What's it doesn't have any focus cost, does it?
Not that I can see. No.
So you're outside of this completely intact police station, but you saw the layout of it. You saw what it looked like. I mean, destroyed, but you still have an idea of it. So you're able to teleport into the holding cell, directly into the holding cell with the convicts. Give me a vigilance test, difficulty 14, for you to appear in there, shoot them with this aerosol, and then teleport out before they know what's going on. And you get a 15 on your vigilance test. So describe what it looks like as you teleport into this holding cell.
So 3 or 4 multicolored 70s sci-fi wavy lines appear. A man dressed with a bowler hat, looking smart, British gentleman, walking stick, smoking pipe, appears out of nowhere, sprays them, gives them a wink, and then disappears again.
And they're turning around. They don't know what's going on. They barely caught a glance of a bowler hat and tweed. They get sprayed by what felt like water. They make a big ruckus. Police officers come in. They're complaining that somebody with a bowler hat sprayed water on them. And the cops just wave it off because clearly these guys are just trying to put one over on them. And then Professor Kronos reappears in the present, right next to the sergeant, who literally, I mean, for this sergeant, it's been a heartbeat since you disappeared. He blinked and honestly thinks he just imagined the fact that you were gone.
I'll say, Sergeant, please take this. This is a tracking device. You will find here a chemical tracer on all the escaped convict prisoners from your prison facility over yonder. As you can see, they are still within the immediate vicinity. If you could have your units use this information to ascertain their location and continue with a hasty pursuit, you'll have them soon detained again.
He looks down at the tracker. What? Huh? Thank you. And he gets on his comms. He's like, I need units in pursuit of 6 escaped prisoners. And you hear him go off and he's starting to explain to everyone. Professor Kronos, take a karma point for that. That was fantastic. And we're moving back around to Bulldozer, who has surrendered. So what would the Eldritch Knight and Sherwood like to do with him?
The Eldritch Knight will probably look over to Sherwood and go see how the other 2 are doing. I'll escort this chap outside. Come on, big boy, let's get moving. And sort of get him up to his feet and sort of shuffle him out.
So
Yes, I'll follow the sounds of destruction.
I like it. So Professor Kronos, you see the Eldritch Knight, he's in his resplendent armor with his sword. He's basically propping up this enormous slab of meat and muscle, 400-pound guy, and walking him out disheveled and beaten. As we slide over to Sherwood, who's making his way through the interior of the police station to get to where the fighting is.
Where is it in relation to me? Is it above me, to the side? I mean,
it's the sound's coming from the west of you, but there's been significant damage done in the police station, so you don't see a clear path through there. But
if it's easier, I'll just run through the outside.
Okay, so you run around. That'll take your full action this turn. You run outside, run around, and run into the western hole. Right as you're getting in there, you see Kingdom Quake and Lodestar squaring off against this man in this purple mask. And that brings us around to Lodestar. You've just got smacked in the head with a magical crowbar that was thrown at you. You saw Kingdom Quake get hit by it as well and then go back to this guy's hand. What would you like to do?
You're muted, Stu.
Still muted.
Muted, Stu. Muted.
There's lots of rubble around.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's because of the cut on my eye. You see, I've lost all usefulness. So there's lots of rubble around. So I'm gonna start picking up these bits of rubble, and I'm gonna start throwing them at him with my telekinesis.
So we see Lodestar angry and bloody as this rubble just rises around her and starts flinging itself at the wrecker. So I'm assuming it's a telekinetic attack?
Yeah, Darth Lodestar.
I like it. All right, and this is against his melee defense, correct?
Yeah.
16 is your target. 17 will work.
Yeah. Okay.
So that is
It's
20
gonna be
points of
10,
damage.
isn't it?
Well, yeah, he's
Yeah.
he's sturdy too. So what's your
Yeah.
multiplier?
It's ×3, so it'll be normal. So it'll be not ×1, won't it? So it'll be 10,
Yep.
10 damage.
10. All right. So these pieces of rubble start smacking into him. But he's pretty tough, and most of them just bounce off. But you see a couple land hard enough to bruise him. And he glares up at you as he smacks this this crowbar in his hand. But instead, since you're kind of floating out of his immediate reach, he turns and moves to grab Kingdom Quake in his arms. So what is your melee defense, Kingdom Quake?
16.
16. He gets a 16, so he grabs a hold of you. Now you're able to attempt to use your reaction that you have not used yet to try to escape before he does anything else if you would like to. And to do that, you need to roll your melee attack and beat his melee defense. Straight up without any edges.
Oh.
And you do. Easily do it. So he grabs a hold of you and you break free. You immediately just knock his arms off. So he is not able to get you into a crushing grab, which was probably a mistake on his part. He probably should have just tried to beat the crap out of you, but he didn't.
Puny pony.
And he just looks stunned. He's never had anybody other than Thor just throw off his hands like that. So he is suitably impressed. He looks at you, he's like, all right, big guy, no more kitten gloves here. But it is your turn.
It's just going to be a signature smash, but just straight right cross.
I like it. How many focus points?
Oof.
How many do you have left, Jim?
15.
All right.
Yeah, it's 5 to use and another 10. So that, yeah.
You're going all in with 15. Now, if you go in with 15 and you go down to 0 focus, you become basically exhausted, and then you get trouble on all of your actions from here on out. So you might want to just spend 10.
Yeah, no, I'm just going to use the 5 to use it. That's it.
Okay, perfect. So his melee defense is 16. You've got 2 edges this time since he's not stunned. All right. You got the 16. All right. And your multiplier is times 4, and his is sturdy is times 2, so it's 2. So 12 plus 4 is 16 points of damage. So he's now really looking beat up. He is shaken, but he's in a berserk rage, so he's still just going to try to put hands on you regardless. He cannot stop at this point, but he is bloody. He is beaten. You heard vertebrae in his neck in black click as that cross came across and hit him in the jaw. In fact, you think you broke his jaw. It's just starting to swell. His entire side of his head is just starting to swell up at this point. And as the Wrecker and Kingdom Quake tee off against one another in the west half of the building, we find Professor Kronos looking at Bulldozer being led out by the Eldritch Knight. What would you like to do?
Interrogate Bulldozer.
I brought one for you, Professor.
Jolly good, thank you. Right, you.
What do you want?
Kerr.
I don't. It's not my name, but they call me Bulldozer.
All right, Mr. Bulldozer.
No, Bulldozer.
All right, Mr.
One
Dozer.
word. It's
all right, Mr. Bulldozer. I see. Okay.
Code name.
Jolly good. Right. Where is the attack going to happen?
It's happening here. That's what I'm doing.
The next one.
Oh, what next attack? Give me a well, it depends on how you want to approach this. Are you trying to outthink him? Then it's going to be a logic check. If you're
I'm not sure
trying
I
to
can outthink this dumbass.
if you're trying to rile him up, it would be an ego check. If you're trying to trip him up, it would be a vigilance check. Each one of them are going to have different difficulties, and each one of them is going to give you different information.
Well, I think my vigilance is 3 and my ego is 1, so it's going to have to be a logic.
Okay. So give me a logic check. Difficulty 16. All right, with a 21 in total, you're kind of you're talking around him, and you're getting into him. And he goes, "Listen," he's like, "Right, okay. The boss said we were to hit the police station, and if everything went well, we were to get into civvies and disappear, and then we would be contacted by either the boss or one of his lieutenants to set up for the last push." I don't know what the last push is. They don't tell us that much, but this was our last. After taking out the fire stations and the hospital and the Lincoln Tunnel and this police station, we were supposed to go to ground for a few hours, get something to eat, rest, and then the last push is going to happen tonight.
Who's the boss?
Baron Zemo. Who else would it be?
Baron Zemo. And what time tonight?
I don't know. Pretty soon though, and it is starting to already get. I mean, the sun is going down. It is early evening, so you don't know when tonight, but it's just a few hours away. Whatever is going to happen.
But I will. I am thinking to myself. Okay. Right. I suppose we better hand him over to the authorities, wouldn't you say, Mr. Eldritch Knight?
He's kind of taken aback that you called him Mr. Eldridge Knight. Yes, yes, most certainly. Who's in charge here? Have you been out here? Who is it?
And you see that same sergeant is over there. He's still on his communicator. He's like, I gotta go. They got one of the guys. And the sergeant starts turning around and coming back to you. Eldridge Knight, is there anything you want to do with your turn other than make sure the bulldozer gets handed off?
Make sure Bulldozer, because I still don't trust that he's not going to try and break free at some point. He's clearly very strong. The bindings I've got him in are probably very superficial in terms of. So I'm just there to make sure that if he does try anything, I'm going to poke my sword in him again.
Yeah. The sergeant goes, "Yeah, if you could just keep an eye on him. We've got a special response team coming in. We got notified from the Federal Emergency Aid and Response Team that they were sending in forces to take control of this superhuman terrorist threat that's descended on Hell's Kitchen. They should be here any minute."
I know you just gave me a load of information, but that department, what a mouthful.
I'm telling you, I've got it written down on my notepad. I've never even heard of them before, but they're all over the channels today. They're chattering up some other federal department under the Office of Emergency Management. I can't keep track of them anymore. They just keep crapping new ones every other day.
Well, I should keep an eye on this lug of a brute.
Right. And as that, we fade over to the west side of the building and we see Sherwood right as you go in the entrance and you see the wrecker. He's staggering. Whole right side of his head is bruised and bloodied. He's got blood seeping through his mask, but he's still got his hands up. He's still trying to throw hands at Kingdom Quake, who doesn't appear to have really suffered too much at all. You do see Lodestar floating in the air a few feet away, and she's got a pretty nasty gash on her forehead, though. What would you like to do?
So this guy's wearing a mask, isn't he?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm going to try and shoot him in the mask so it shifts to blind him so he can't see.
Okay. Yeah, let's give it a shot. It's going to be a little more difficult because you're trying to just snag a mask and curve it. But let's call it an agility against a DC 18.
Do I just roll agility rather than an attack?
Oh, your normal attack. You're shooting your arrows.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's your bow attack, and you get it. So, describe what it looks like as you snag this mask and spin it around his head.
Just thought I'd see if I could get a marble.
Oh, yeah, no, I get
Yeah, so seeing this guy, still, clearly in some kind of rage, thought, we've got to try and take him in alive. The professor asked us to. So giving Quake the chance just to kind of properly knock him out, kind of lines up the arrow. You see his eyes focus on the exact point of the mask, looses. Mask spins around, so the eyes suddenly, rather than being here, are here.
And you see, and he's like, "What the?" And his hands go up to his face to try to grab his mask that's shifted around to the side of his head, bringing us to Lodestar. You see this. You don't even see Sherwood. He's somewhere behind you, but this arrow comes right over your shoulder or right under your shoulder as you're floating up, hits this mask, spins it around the wrecker's head, and you are up. He is blinded, so he has trouble on any actions, and
Excellent.
you have an edge on any action that you are going to take.
I'm going to
him
pick
while
up
he's
the
blind.
biggest piece of rubble I can see and drop it on his head.
I like it. Let's do your logic check against 16 melee defense.
Oh,
But you have an edge, so
I've got an
re-roll.
edge. So, oh, look at that. Yeah,
All right.
sneak it in.
So you hit him. So, and with what's your multiplier?
Normally it's times 3, so
Okay,
8.
so it'll be down to ×1 for him. So 8 points of damage.
Yeah.
So describe what it looks like as you telekinetically pick up this giant
Basically
piece of
some
rubble.
bits of breeze block that are stuck together, and lift it up, drop it on his head, and as it hits his head, it breaks in two over his head down the sort of mortar.
And it does. It strikes him on the top of the head. It cracks in half, and he just folds unconscious at your feet. And we are now out of combat, and you guys have captured Bulldozer and the Wrecker. So as you're dragging the Wrecker out, you see Bulldozer. He's cuffed now. You see the sergeant going, "Yeah, they're. Hey, can you all just stay here for a moment? The Federal Emergency Aid and Response guys they're pulling up right now." And as you see down the road, coming up, weaving around all of these destroyed police cruisers, is
Sorry, what were they called again?
It's the Federal Emergency Aid
and
and
response.
Response.
Fear?
In fact, as you see this black APC driving through, stenciled on the side of it is that indeed F.E.A.R.
Either we've missed something vital here, like, or they're just really bad at acronyms.
Are they supposed to be the good guys?
Are
They
we the
are-
baddies?
Well, you'll find out in a second, I guess, as the APC pulls up, and then you see flying in 2 armored agents in this black power armor that also has fear stenciled across the top, and they land on either side of this APC, and out of it, a woman gets out in black fatigues. She's got auburn hair pulled back. She's got a stern face, but attractive but stern features.
Teleport.
She's wearing a stab.
Don't trust us.
Okay. Professor Kronos disappears. She's got a stab vest on that has fear across it. She walks up to the sergeant. "Sergeant, we're here to take custody of your prisoners. I am Commander O'Dyer with the Federal Emergency Aid and Response. I have got command control over these terrorist actions. So we'll be taking custody of your prisoners." The sergeant just looks at her and then looks over at you. He's like, this is the group of heroes that captured him." And she looks over at all of you, just sort of sizing you up. She's like, "Right. Listen, we at the agency appreciate your assistance
I feel a heavy butt coming.
Well, yes, there is a but coming. Your assistance was appreciated. However, at this juncture, the Federal Emergency Aid and Response teams have deployed across what is colloquially called Hell's Kitchen, a site of major superpowered terrorist activity all day long. We are cordoning off the area, establishing a curfew, putting emergency response teams. Public safety is critical at this point.
But we've already
So-
dealt with the issue.
You've dealt with this issue, but we need
dealt
to
with the
make
last
sure
three
no-
issues as well.
Listen, sir, I appreciate, as I said, we appreciate your efforts. However, we cannot distinguish what other actions
I
might come up.
Don't know if you've ever heard the saying, but anything before the butt is bullshit.
Well, then let me cut to the chase.
Please talk honestly with us.
Vigilante actions are no longer authorized within the control area of Hell's Kitchen for as long as the Federal Emergency Aid and Response Organization has command control, and until such time as we can ensure all superpowered terrorists have been apprehended. You will stand down and you will move
Kingdom
out of the
Quake
area.
agrees with Mr. Knight. This is all shit from Bull.
You-
Quake, I do enjoy you sometimes. Please pardon my friend. He's a very brutish man, but he is very amusing at times. Anyway, we shall stand down. I'm so glad you turned up after we've done everything. Thank you very much. Enjoy your nice clean streets that we provided for you. Righto, chaps.
Aaron,
Well,
And lady, of course.
Aaron,
yes.
while they're all doing this, that, and the other, I'm going to see if I can connect with the onboard computer in the APC.
okay, so you've got machine telepathy.
Yeah, machine empathy. Yeah.
Okay,
Very
give
handy.
give me your roll.
I'm guessing it's non-combat logic. I think.
19 is enough. Is enough.
Yeah.
So you connect with the onboard computer of the APC. You're in. What would you like to know?
I want to see what their orders are, and if I can find it, and where it's come from.
Okay, you're able. There are no orders in the APC. You're
No,
able.
yeah, I understand, but there might be a GPS.
Yeah, you're able to determine exactly. You're able to track back that this vehicle was deployed from an area around the convention center to the southwest, close to where the Lincoln Tunnel is.
Right.
That this vehicle had been parked down there for a while, a couple days, and just recently deployed from there.
Okay. Right. And just scan around, see if there's anything useful in the movement data beforehand as well. And
No, to be honest, this vehicle doesn't look like it had moved. It looks like it had been at that spot for a couple of days, 2
Yeah.
days to be exact, had not moved once during those 2 days.
right.
And first time it's moved since there's been a vehicle log of its movements.
Of it starting up. Yeah.
Was just now as it drove directly from
There.
the location to the police station.
Right. Okay. And anything with like an ownership stamp in there, or
No, everything else is pretty clear. This, I mean, it's a government vehicle. It's
Yeah.
got some pretty serious firewalls in it, but there's no automated controls in it. It's kind of a
No.
standard vehicle.
yeah. All right. Cool. I'll leave it at that and
Okay.
get out before anyone realizes I'm in.
Okay. Do you relay this information to the rest
Yeah,
of the team?
I will relay it by telepathic link to probably to Professor Kronos first, I think, and then maybe
You can't. He's gone.
Oh, he's got
He
yes, hasn't he?
teleported
You
away.
teleported away. You say.
Eldritch Knight then.
So you telepathically communicate this information with the team.
Yeah.
And
Lone
while
Star,
they
you
are
cheeky
talking
girl, you.
with Commander Dwyer, she goes, "Excellent. So you need to be north and west of the current area."
Might I ask you a question? I mean, it's customary, is it not, to provide your identification? Is it not?
Oh, she pulls out her identification and her badge. She goes, "I'm Commander Siobhan O'Dyer of the Federal Emergency Aid and Response Agency under the Office of Emergency Management."
Do they have any skulls on their uniforms?
No skulls on the uniforms.
The Eldritch like looks at the
Only
ID.
the
Obviously,
bad
he has
guy.
absolutely no idea What he's looking at, he's pretending to look at, and he kind of looks at the sergeant, like kind of like, you have a look at it because you're. Perhaps, Commander, you can tell me as to why your vehicle has been stationed over by the convention center for the last 2 days,
What are you
right
talking
next to the
about?
Lincoln Tunnel where the incident happened today.
She looks at you. She looks at the rest of them. Right. Okay. This is how it's going to play. Move up the timeline, hit it now, and the
They're bad
entire
guys!
area, the entire area blacks out, and you hear her say, "Second team, take out the vigilantes." And that's where we're going to end it tonight.
Excellent.
Where we have we've now, for everybody at home who's watching this, or who may be running the Cataclysm of Kang or want to play in the Cataclysm of Kang, you're going to realize that I seriously truncated Act 2 of this adventure, and we're kind of smashing into Act 3 pretty hard. I did this for a couple of reasons. One, I wanted to leave a little bit of mystery out there for everybody who might want to play this or run it, and just to show you all the different ways you can approach this adventure. There's a lot of information in Act 2. There's a lot of different things you can do. But for streaming and for a concise game, I wanted to kind of focus down on the adventure itself. So definitely, if you get a chance to and you're going to run this, really dive into Act 2. It gives you a lot of opportunities for some good role-playing opportunities. But my players, because they're nosy and they've got machine telepathy and time travel and everything, they bypass a lot of the side info, and they dive directly into the meat of the situation. I also switch out some of the characters just so it's a little different for everybody. You're going to see some different people popping up here and there throughout the adventure, and I'm doing it on purpose to give a little different nuance and flavor to the adventure. So I hope all of my players enjoyed this more than anything else, and we'll be back next week to see who the backup team is that's going to be attempting to take out Operation Pendragon as they've fallen into Act 3 of Friendly Neighborhood. That's going to be me for tonight. If, please make sure that you tune in tomorrow, same time, for Mr. Garblag himself. Pete is going to be continuing to run Heroic Deeds. This is his own role-playing game. It's got an old school feel to it with some really modern mechanics. It's a really interesting game. And he's going to be bringing it to Kickstarter here, I believe, next month. So definitely jump in there. Take a look at the playthrough. They're running the Red Hand of Doom, the classic adventure. It's a lot of fun to watch. I can't wait to run it myself. And I hope all of you get an opportunity to take a look at the Kickstarter when it comes out. It's going to be phenomenal. I don't have it with me. I'm going to be running the Kickstarter rules myself over on the Lollygaggers, hopefully really soon, while the Kickstarter campaign is ongoing. So look for it there. Come back around to next Tuesday, and you'll be able to find Millie, the GM, who is continuing her amazing Free League Coriolis campaign. I know there were some hiccups yesterday on it, but you will next week you'll get a data dump on what happened on Tuesday, and then the campaign will continue. It's an amazing show, and if you haven't been watching it, watch it. Go back and watch all of the old episodes, but start watching it next week. Then, if you've tolerated me this week and you've been amazed by my cast, like I have, who keep throwing monkey wrenches at me and making me dive for plot lines, you can find us back here next week as we move into Act 3 of the Friendly Neighborhood, which is the Rank 2 adventure for Marvel Multiverse Cataclysm of Kang. If Pete is not here yet, I'll also tell you about what's going on the Lollygaggers. So if you don't know, I also game and run an occasional game over on the Lollygaggers. So if you haven't checked out the Adventures in Lollygagging, check out their Twitch TV and their YouTube. We're going to be playing Werewolf the Apocalypse, the 5th edition version of it, tomorrow night. That's 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, absolute middle of the night GMT. So you'll probably need to check that out on YouTube unless you're an insomniac like Kat, who's in the chat with us right now, who may be joining us for Werewolf tomorrow. We always appreciate the live audiences. We also appreciate when you watch us on YouTube. Then you can track back around on Friday. There'll be some more Delta Green. On Saturday, Call of Cthulhu. Back to the following Monday. I can't remember if it's I don't think it's Fragged Empire. I believe it's Monster of the Week. Then Tuesday will be back to Lollygaggers' own Marvel Multiverse X-Men Escapade Schools Out adventure. But that's all I've got for tonight. So I'm going to say good night, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Adieu.
And yeah.